Hello, I'm Rachel Maria Bell, astrologer, psychic, storyteller, writer, spiritual teacher. Yeah, I'm going to have to get better at rattling that off. And the purpose of this video today is to discuss one of my spiritual stories. It's a very personal storytelling, and one of my missions is to normalize everyday spirituality. And I believe that we do that by just telling our stories as they are, without fear of judgment, ridicule, mockery, all that shit. We just tell them. So all the things that happen intuitively, messages we receive, clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, all of that stuff that happens and that we're all predisposed to, and we probably have certain gifts that come more easily to us than others, and we all receive information in different ways so that we've got our part of the story to tell, our part of the jigsaw puzzle. So I love to tell stories about the eternal life of the soul, about reincarnation, about what it means to live, as a human being who is, curious and open to this universe. So today's story is about my granddad. This is Grandad on my mum's side of the family, and also my maternal great-grandma. It's her birthday in heaven today, 6th of December. So happy birthday, Grandma Susanna. And today I want to tell you about my granddad, okay? Now, this might sound really, really random, and it sort of feels it to me as well, but overnight I received the message to share this story, publicly. Stick it on YouTube, just go for it. This is the next story to share. And I woke up and it was 3:33 a.m. So 3:33 being the sign of the Ascended Masters, a number that I associate with Jesus. I was like, okay, game on. I just sit down and tell you the story about my granddad. So at the start of the year 2020, things changed for me. Like 2020 was as though, everything's changed. Now I am a life path 22, and the Master 22 energy can be quite big and challenging to hold and get a handle on and embody. And the year 2020 was vibrating on 22. So it was like amazing for me. It was my personal year one in numerology. I was like, game on, fresh start, felt amazing. Anyway, at the start of 2020, my granddad appeared to me in spirit, and he just told me that he was now reincarnated and living as a young man who lives between Bradford and Manchester. And I was like, okay. I guess he looked like late teens, maybe 20. Now, my granddad passed in October 95. So, and it's now 2023. This information where he looked sort of 18 to 20, although I could be wrong about that. This was received at the start of 2020. So I'm kind of processing this going, okay, he had time to incarnate, And also it made me realise and think about my granddad was like so clear, energetically, so clear and pure. He was, sort of, to describe his character, he was a philosopher. He was grounded and practical, a very practical man. He was an engineer. He built aeroplanes during the war, and he was, just worked as an engineer in Leeds all his life, and so did his dad, and so did his dad, and so did his dad. You get the picture. So we go back to 1777 before we find a change in family history. Otherwise, they're all engineers living in Leeds, okay? It's very, one thing. This how my granddad appeared to me. He had tattoos all up both arms, and I was like, oh, Grandad, you always said that you regretted getting your tattoos. And I'm like, oh, look at him, he's come back and got his tattoos again. Which is kind of funny, because I do feel that when we come back into an incarnation, we often repeat something, it's almost like we're remembering and we're bringing something back. Now, the funny thing was, there's a few things I keep just glancing down at my notes because I made like a few notes overnight. I was like, these are the things that I need to say. So if I look like I'm looking at my notes, it's because I am. So yeah, my granddad was born in 1918 and he died in 1995, and he outlived his wife by 10 years. So the last 10 years of his life, he was very, very sad without her. You know, like she really was the love of his life, and it was lost without her, and shocked that she died. And really, when I was so conscious of this as a child. And my nana, his wife, was my spirit guide, but I never felt like it was really okay to say that. But I could see her, I could feel her, I could experience her around us. And the person that my granddad spent probably the most time with in the last 10 years of his life was me. So me between the ages of 7 and 17. And I was really conscious of it because I always used to think, isn't it funny that this man who's lived through a war and lived through a lot and has so many cool like philosophies to share about life and a lot of really interesting perspectives, that he never ever rammed down anyone's throat. He was just super cool. He was a Capricorn, if you're interested in the astrology of this, because I am. He was Capricorn Sun, Sagittarius Moon. So he was very grounded and stable, like the Capricorn, a real thinker, practical, just put one foot in front of the other. But then he had this like kind of gregarious, truth-seeking, intellectual side to him, which I feel is the Sagittarius Moon. And I feel very grateful for being attuned to those energies through my granddad. And I feel very lucky that he was like my third parent, and my parents were more, no offence, but they were way more closed down than any of my grandparents in terms of emotions and spirituality. That wasn't really on the agenda other than what was on offer at church. Whereas my granddad never went to church. He was a thinker, you know, he came up with his own stuff. And I always thought, you know, when he was younger, he wouldn't have known how his life was going to turn out. He wouldn't have known that for the last 10 years of his life, he was going to predominantly spend time with Rachel, with this granddaughter. And it used to make me think, I wonder who will be in my life in my later years. I wonder whether I will have grandchildren and who they will be. And it used to make me feel really hopeful, joyful, excited. It was like, oh, this is just great. You know, this is great. I don't know who's going to arrive in my life. And there was something really cool about that. Oh yeah, this is the story that I wanted to share with you. So when my granddad used to tell this story about himself. And strangely, I feel really compelled to tell this as though I'm talking to him now, because there is a chance that there is a really cool, awakened young man living between Manchester and Bradford who is open to past life experiences, open to remembrance, and stumbles upon this video. Hi! And goes, shit, that's my granddaughter. Because you know what? I look and sound literally the same all my life. I just kind of look the same as I did as a child, and obviously as I did when I was 17. So, you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm just going to say it like this. So, okay, you were born on the 31st of December 1918, and when you were 6, you went on holiday with your family. So your mum and dad, Martha and Tom, and your brother Ronnie, and you went on holiday. So this is 1925. And you went to a place that you'd never been to before, and you used to tell me this story. And you were able to tell your family everything about this place. Now, you never said what the place was, so I can't pass that on. But it was, you'd gone on a family holiday to a place that, as a family, none of the four of you had supposedly ever been before. And you used to tell this story that you were telling your parents all about this place. You were like, I know this place. And if you go down this street and then you turn left down this street, which you knew the names, and then you'll come to a pub and it's on the right hand side and this is the name of the pub. And you told them everything about this place and you were correct. They were finding that it was correct. They were completely spooked out, and then they continued to tell this story. You continued to tell this story to me, and now I am telling this story as though I am speaking to the soul of my granddad, who has now come back to me in spirit, telling me that he lives as a young man in the north of England. I know this might sound pretty weird. I don't really care. I don't actually think it's weird at all. I think this is totally meant to be. So, I actually believe that my granddad was very awakened, but there was just no frame of reference for this in the environment and life and culture and society that he grew up in. And I just feel like it would be super funny if my granddad's watching this and going, oh, it's me. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that in my life 2 lives ago. Oh yeah, I know that place. Anyway. Another little story about my granddad was when I was 6, so things that happen when you're 6. When I was 6, Grandad went into hospital for an operation on cataracts in his eyes. So he had poor eyesight, very short-sighted, also cataracts and glaucoma, loads of eye problems. He went in hospital for this operation, and it was just at the time of the miners' strikes, and in the bed next to him there was a policeman who'd been injured in the riots, in a physical fight during these miners' strikes. And when the guy went into his locker, he had both a policeman's uniform and an army uniform in there. And my granddad was like, ooh, see what happened there. They brought the army in. These weren't regular policemen brought in to absolutely batter the miners, were they? No, they were the military. Interesting. Anyway, my granddad, funnily enough, very similar to me, has physical eye problems, but a lot of seeing things in different ways. And, that's just a reminder to everybody that we can all see, at different depths and through different lenses. So, about back to the tattoos, he always said, oh, I really regret having these tattoos. I can't get them off. And he just didn't like them. He had dragons, blue dragons, all up his arms. I thought they were quite cool. Got to be honest, I thought they were quite cool. I don't have tattoos, but I thought they looked cool. But he always said he regretted it. And he said he regretted smoking as well. So I just want to mention that. Because if you've brought the tattoos back, you might have brought the smoking back. And I just want to say you had emphysema and died of bronchial pneumonia. So really kind of recommend not smoking. My granddad was the reason why I don't smoke, because I heard him coughing half to death for a lot of years and it was pretty scary. And so I'm aware that I've kind of been addressing this to the soul of my granddad, and I just feel like I've kind of come back into contact with how cool my granddad was, how grateful I am to him for the way that he was. He was very likeable, but also very true to himself. He wasn't the kind of person who would charm anybody, control anybody, or anything like that. Just super honest with himself and with others. And the more I think about it, the more grateful I am for having spent time with him as a child. So for anyone else watching, thank you so much for watching. I'd be really delighted that if you liked this, please subscribe. Feel free to you know, comment if this resonates with you. Do you have similar stories? Does this feel like, yeah, it feels to me like time that we got these kind of things out in the open, and it's really okay to have these stories. Um, you know, I feel that we will see more people simply sharing their truth in a really grounded, embodied, integrated way, because it's actually a story that makes you feel happy, joyous, grateful, and it's my truth. You know, I understand that not everybody has memory of their past lives or of their in between lives, or of being a spirit guide, or of ushering souls after death. I get that not everybody has that, but I do, and I'm really cool about just saying it because this is my truth, this are my experiences. And the more I listen to others, the more I realize there are so many amazing experiences that people have, and I don't want to be holding those back, because these speak to the truth of the amazing, wonderful, magnificent world that we live in. Um, we're all unique, we're all different. Not everybody is going to sit down and make a YouTube video about the spirit of their granddad coming back to talk about his most recent incarnation. I get that. I really, really get that. It's written in my chart, as well as in my heart's true desire, to sit here and do this. So I love it to be really specific about how each person's gift works and who that's for. And one of my gifts is just this storytelling in order to normalize stuff that has been taboo, has been shut down. And I don't want it to be taboo and shut down. It's actually, you know, the way I see the eternal life of the soul is that, you know, this is a facet of the wonder of who you are, the wonder of you. And yeah, so in my work as an astrologer, I bring through, by looking at your charts, what it is that you are really amazing at. What are the messages that you're bringing? What's the healing that you're bringing? What's the special gift that you're bringing to the world? And there might be many. I meet so many people who are multi talented and have many, many gifts. And I do provide a safe space for people to be able to tell me the truth of that, and to be able to, you know, get into a new layer of it, and to really know yourself as the truth of why you're here, why you're incarnated, what you're doing here, and the part that you're playing. So whether you might be called into having a one-to-one reading, or maybe called into one of my programs where there is that deeper facilitation of spiritual and personal development work under the lens of astrology, but knowing that we are all starlight, we hold the universe inside of us, rearranged in that specific, beautiful way that is correct for us, and we get to share that unique light with the world, and the same is true for each of us. If you would like to reach out to me, please just email me, rachelmariabell@gmail.com, or contact me on social media. Thank you so much for watching this little video today, and love you, Grandad, wherever you are.